award-winning Tennessee Wildcast is on the air with the latest on hunting, fishing, boating, wildlife watching, and all things outdoors. Make welcome your host, drummer and outdoor expert novice, Jason Harmon.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to this edition of Tennessee Wildcast. We're glad you're tuning in. We thank you for watching, for listening. We're doing another show here in West Tennessee with Miss Amy Spencer. She's helping me line up a few shows while we're out here for some meetings, and appreciate you doing that.
No problem.
We're going to talk with Chris Park, and we got David Vandegriff back with us again today. And
the wealth of knowledge.
Yeah. We couldn't let him slip by. We had to keep him for another show. I'm sure there's something we didn't learn in the first one that we'll learn in this one.
I think we could do multiple shows.
Yeah, I bet we could. But yeah, we want to just touch on some hunting in West Tennessee, opportunities out here in this area. We're going to focus on the properties that Chris manages and some of the ones that David works on. So,
yep. These are the guys to ask the questions to.
Yeah, these are the guys for at least these properties. They know what's going on here, and so it'll be fun to have these conversations. Chris, first, before we get started, introduce yourself.
Yeah, so I've been with the agency going on 21 years.
Wow.
Seems like I started yesterday, but it's been 21 years, good years.
No, that's just because his boss is over there.
That's right. But graduated high school, West Tennessee, went to UT Martin, got a degree, wildlife biology, and been in lands management since 2006 on these areas.
All right.
The Lower Mississippi River Complex, we call it.
So you grew up going through these properties, hunting on these properties, and enjoying West Tennessee.
As we call it, I grew up in the bottoms, and that's where I did all my hunting and fishing, and that's why I'm here today.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think that's the story of a lot of people who work for the agency. They grew up in the outdoors, hunting and fishing, and knew that's what they wanted to do, and their passions led them to UT Martin or UT Knoxville or some of those Tennessee Tech. Those are probably the top three big schools, and end up working for the agency.
I knew what I wanted to do in elementary school, and then I was in high school, and I was going to do it, and they said, "Are you sure about that?" And I said, "I'm positive." So I'm here today. So.
Awesome. Well, David, remind people who you are, if you don't mind. If they watched the show earlier, that was a cool conversation.
And if you haven't watched the Duck Banding show, you need to.
This is the walking legend.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
That's what they say. David Vandegriff, I've been with him about 43 years. And been pretty much in the same areas, working in the bottoms, and thoroughly still enjoying it.
Yeah, 43 years. That's some time, and that shows
that shows someone that's actually enjoying what they're doing, because they get to be the jack of all trades. You're getting to do everything. Mm-hmm. I mean, he is trapped turkeys, he's trapping wood ducks, and then he knows these management areas.
Songbirds, bald eagles.
Yes.
All of it. Been a good run.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, today we wanted to cover 4 WMAs specifically: Eagle Lake, Shelby Forest, President's Island, and Tully. Is it just Tully WMA?
That's what we call it.
That's what we call it.
John Tully.
John Tully.
John Tully.
Yes.
Used to be called Anderson Tully and changed to John Tully. What, David, about 20 years ago? Maybe?
Yeah, whenever the agency bought the property to help the Nature Conservancy.
Because Anderson Tully Timber Company owned it. One time we leased from them. So
that's the properties we're going to be discussing today, and I guess we'll jump right in.
Let's start out with Eagle Lake.
Yeah, Eagle Lake sounds good. Go ahead.
So Eagle Lake Refuge is...
I thought you had a question.
Well, actually, we were talking before the show. I said, what is it known for? And the first thing David said was wintering ducks. So, David, you want to tell everybody about how, you got 400 acres there that we flood.
Yeah, the agency purchased, it used to be called, I think, the Mustin Bottoms, and then... The agency came in, I think, with the help of Ducks Unlimited and
Babe Howard was involved.
And Babe Howard, yes, and they went ahead and put in the levees and everything that we needed, and we had 3 pumps on the area. We pump it up and try to have crops in there for the ducks, and then it's not long after we get water on it, we start getting ducks on it.
And I believe that was constructed about the same time you started banning wood ducks in the early 90s, 92, 93.
It was.
believe Dan Fuqua
Dan was still down there. Yeah.
At the manager at that time. And
Yeah.
it was one of DU's first projects with the agency
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, wow.
back years ago. So
Yeah.
it was one of their first things. And it's still there and still operational today.
Awesome.
So if somebody wanted to hunt out there, what do they need to know?
So it's open to all game hunting
Okay.
until November the 15th. And then after November the 15th, all hunting is shut down for the sanctuary for the birds coming in and stuff. But people still can use that area as an access to the south end of Shelby Forest, which butts up to it.
Okay.
It borders it, and they can use the refuge as access to the management area on the north end of the refuge.
Awesome. Okay. And I want to remind people now to check your guide, to make sure you
Yes.
look at your guide.
That's why we have it.
It's
Yeah,
got-
because it's got
Yep.
special regulations, just Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday of those hunting seasons.
Okay.
That and Shelby Forest, both.
See, that's good to know, folks. If you check your guide, it'll have those specifics in there. Some say same as statewide, some are quota, some have certain days, and it's good to always check that. tnwildlife.org.
And that's one thing
to
we did
pull
this
it up.
year is we updated our webpage. So when you go to the management area, everything is there. It's like a one-stop shop. You've got your season dates. You've got everything on one page, so you can check it out. And it would have, when you can hunt it, when you can't. And that is so nice now. That's one of the updates to our webpage that has really been nice.
Yeah, it is handy. Like she said, you go to that website, that WMAs page, and the regulations are there. So,
All right, what else about Eagle Lake?
So we flood about 400 acres for the waterfowl, running about 200 acres, usually of corn, just depending on what the flood the Mississippi River does on a particular year.
And you've got to remember, folks, the Mississippi River does flood.
A lot. a lot.
a lot. And, that really interferes with you all getting crops in.
So
and that's
just-
something that we can't control.
That's one of those things that you don't think about it, and it happens 3 to 4 times a year, a couple months at a time, and it's we're Mother Nature. What she wants to let us get in, and we get in. But usually try to do half and half. Usually have corn planted. We also do a lot of moist soil management down there, and Japanese millet, just depending on the year. What it gives us to work with. It's just Mother Nature gives us the cards, and we play with what we're dealt with.
Yeah.
So a lot of our properties on our special waterfowl areas up across West Tennessee, flood-prone areas. There's a reason. So
Yeah,
it's really
sure.
hard to get crops in, and sometimes we look like the best farmers in America, and sometimes we look
Look
like
like we
never
don't
put-
know what we're doing.
That's right. So
yeah, and you're like you said, you're dealt. You play the cards you're dealt, and it's a struggle sometimes. You never know.
And we have a lot of good with our agency, WMAs, but sometimes we get some of the bad things that go with them. And
That's right.
this is one that we need to talk about on Eagle Lake, and we've got another one, but that's hogs.
Oh yeah, so I guess that started after the
2011.
the 2011 flood.
Yeah.
That we refer to it in West Tennessee for sure. Mississippi River was probably 20 foot deep, 25 foot deep across the refuge that year. But there have been hogs in Arkansas. There have been hogs on the islands for 20, 25 plus years. Had never crossed over the Mississippi River into West Tennessee. We knew it was a matter of time, just didn't know why they haven't. We were happy they hadn't.
Yeah.
And then the
Right,
flood of 2011, for whatever reason,
They hitched a ride.
they hitched
hitched
a
a
ride. I
ride.
guess they were
Sure
going
did.
towards the bluff. That was the highest point they probably could see.
Yeah.
And we've been dealing with them every year since. And it's been a battle. I like to say it's been a war. So a lot of manpower, a lot of trapping.
And what
that we've
people
done.
don't realize is they can do a lot of ecological damage when they get
yeah.
into an
Billions
area.
of dollars across
Yes.
the country.
Oh, yeah.
Billions.
Yes, billions. And, people, I think, don't really understand that, or maybe understand their impacts of what they can do to all of the wildlife that we have in Tennessee.
That's right. So, when we first had them, you would not see a deer or a turkey within 2 miles if we had hog activity. They were gone. They didn't want any part of it. Now it's changed a little bit. They're getting along a little bit better, I think, now it seems. The numbers are not near as high as they were once. But we are seeing intermingling going on. But the first couple of years, it was rough. It was really rough.
Are they struggling, or is it a struggle to deal with them around the crops for waterfowl and things like
So
that?
I
too?
always told somebody, you can pull a Google Earth image up Shelby Forest and Eagle Lake, since we call them together a lot because they all connect. And I said, you can just point a finger anywhere on that map, and I can show you hog damage within 10 yards of that spot you pointed out.
Wow.
And I mean, it looks like you took a garden tiller and drove a tractor with a tiller through the woods. And of course, all the fields, everything we planted, they would tear up. And so not only do we deal with flood down there of getting our crops, we also have to deal with the hogs getting our crops.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that kind of leads us to Shelby Forest. That's some of the same struggles you have at Eagle Lake you're having there. But
that's correct.
But there's also a lot of good things happening there. Dove hunting, waterfowl hunting.
Yeah.
So we normally plant around 50 to 60 acres of dove field, sunflowers. Last couple of years we had a really good field. This year the hogs completely destroyed it. And we attribute that to the drought. But they went through picking the tops out of the sunflowers like deer do, which is common for deer. Hogs never do that. They've never done that. But I guess all the moisture that's in that plant, it's just like cotton. It's in the top of that plant.
And for people that don't know, we went 60-plus days in certain areas.
67 days without a rain.
Where I live,
right.
we were like 65. So 67 days without a drop of rain. And that's any type of, not a drop.
And then we got a quarter inch then and didn't get another rain for 3 weeks.
Yes.
So it was a long, hard process.
Yes.
And so not only does our crop show it, but our surrounding farmers, has had a really rough year dealing with it. But we try to plant 50 to 60 acres. Dove fields always go in early May, which is prime time for the Mississippi River flood.
Yes.
So that's always been a battle.
Yeah.
So if you don't get them in a certain time, because they have a long maturity date for them to be ready for opening day, because that's the one everybody talks about with doves is opening day.
Yeah.
To hunt on opening day. And so you have to get them in that first part of May. And if the river's in or we have a wet spring, a lot of factors go in, but our guys, our team, I always like to say, they put in a lot of hours. When the ground's right, we're going. It doesn't matter if it's Saturday or Sunday or 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
We got to get the crop in.
You got to get it in when you can. So, hunting. What other kind of hunting on Shelby?
Yeah. So
we got the duck hunting. I was thinking about deer and other things too.
Yeah. So we hunt everything there.
Okay.
Same statewide season there. Just Monday, Wednesday, Saturday.
Okay.
And that came from a partnership with the state park there, the Mimian Shelby Forest State Park. That we can only hunt 3 days a week, and so that's what we do there. And then we just moved the quota waterfowl. Used to be first come, first serve on the area. Moved that 5 or 6 years ago, I guess.
Yeah.
To the quota. And so we have 11 sites there.
Okay.
That we draw for. Which that's coming up soon.
Yeah, that actually opens September the 28th and runs through October 18th on that one.
Yep. Yeah. So make sure you get your picks in before the deadline at 11:59 p.m. on that 18th. But yeah, so that's awesome. Yeah, opportunities there, and that leads me to a question. I had that on my notes. When you say Shelby Forest has pools.
No, so it has sites.
Oh, Shelby Forest has sites.
And Tully has pools.
Tully has pools. What's the difference?
All right, so sites, you go to a specific spot, a staked spot that you hunt from.
Okay.
A pool would be something 15, 20, 30 acres where you got a whole pool that you could get in to hunt.
That you can choose a spot in that pool.
That's right. And a site is a specific spot. You got to stay within a certain amount of feet from it and hunt a designated spot. So we call that a site.
Okay.
And a pool, like I said, we have different hunting areas and mounds on pools that they can hunt and they can move around, and it's a little more versatile for them to move around. So.
And you bring your own boat with a blind or however
That's
you want to do it.
That's right. So some of the areas are wadeable. At Shelby Forest, just depending on water level.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be knee deep today, and you'll need a ski boat to get in the next day. It just depends. It's easy, it floods real easy in the winter, and so.
Yeah.
But most people get there, especially by the late season, they'll get in by boat.
I guess.
Or use boat into a certain area and then walk from there. So.
Well, I know there's experienced hunters out there that know the difference and have been out there and hunted those spots. But for those that don't know, that's good information to know the difference in those areas and what you're putting in for and what you're drawing for. So, and then you've got your blinds, which everybody knows what a blind is. Most people that's
right.
Either built or and whatnot. So awesome.
Now they're over one of the more famous or more highly sought after
Yeah,
WMAs in Tennessee, and that's President's Island.
That's right. So we started that hunt 2001.
I remember.
You remember?
What do you remember, Dave?
I remember it was long days, and you would have to be back the next morning, before sunrise to let them in. We didn't have anywhere to stay down there. We didn't have the amenities that we have now.
Okay.
And so we would pull in, open the gate, everybody would sign in. Then you wouldn't see them again until dark. They'd sign out. We'd go home. You get a couple hours of sleep, get right back up, and be back down there again to do the same thing again. So in the very beginning, it was tough because you didn't have, we've got a pretty good setup now.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good enough setup now to where you can get a lot of help. And because
Especially if you bring honey buns.
we're
That's right. Absolutely.
we're steadily cooking something down there, so they're steadily rolling in there to get something to eat. But in the early days, it was tough, but like I say, it has gotten better now than what it used to be, and you can actually go down there now. You spend the night. You don't have to make the trip all the way back.
You'll have a little. I almost call it camper alley right there when you first
That's
come
right,
in, because they've got their camper where they set up and they cook. They cook.
A lot.
Yeah,
A lot.
Yeah, a lot.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then you've got the hunters come do their campers right there. But all this is for the big deer, because President Island is known for probably. It's one of Tennessee's most sought after hunts for the big deer.
Well, was it known for big deer in 2001 when it started? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just the locals that
They
been
knew.
there, they knew.
Yeah.
It
You
wasn't statewide known.
You had a few private areas that were on the island where they had been hunting it for a long time.
Okay.
And then North American Whitetail came down and did a run on it and did an article on it, and then it went nationwide.
Yes.
And then it really, and then what was it, the next year or two after that, the computer program that was set up to take all of these people that were putting in for the hunt, it was so many it kind of blew the program up, and they had to come up with something different.
Yeah.
But now it isn't anything to wait 10 or 12 years just to have enough points to be put in the draw, and that's just getting you in the draw. That don't mean you're going to get draw.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
I know at one time it was over 14,000 people that were putting in for around 50 spots.
And I've heard, and you gotta build your points up to be able to get.
your
that
minimum
opportunity.
is usually about 10 years. Every once in a while you'll hear there's a fluke somehow that got in there
Right.
earlier, but it's a minimum of 10 years.
That's right. Yeah, and I think right now we're sitting at 13 as a quality points.
So let's talk about that just real quick. We may have said it already, but what's the quota? I know it's already passed this year, but next year, if somebody wanted to get their name in the pot, what are they looking at?
All right, so we have 2 quota hunts. We have one in October. We got one coming about a month from now. And then that's a 30 hunter quota.
Okay.
And then in December, the first weekend in December, we'll have another 30 hunter quota buck hunt there. And it's 9 points or better, or outside 20-inch spread, which was a new regulation that was added.
That's right.
And one thing about the December hunt, from some of our research that we've done in the agency, that's prime time of the typical rut and our cycle there for the does. So the December hunt is usually a pretty dang good hunt.
So that's something.
If it's not raining the whole weekend.
That's right.
Sleet
Or
and
an ice
snow.
storm. We had an ice storm one year.
Yeah.
Nice.
But that was one of the things when this was set up many years ago, and Alan Peterson was behind this
Yes.
from a long time ago. He had this. He's responsible for making this hunt happen. But the biggest thing was we were taking data to find out when that rut was, because that's when we wanted to have our hunters there to have the best opportunity.
And then we just kind of recheck that.
We check it about every 2 or 3 years.
And it's still holding true.
Still, I mean, that week, the week of the hunt, the weekend, it's pretty neat to see that. And so it's always a later rut than just outside of there. But
And you can talk to the hunters when you talk about what's their level of success. Most of them come out without killing anything, but the deer that they see is some of the biggest deer that they've ever seen in their life, and it was worth the trip for a lot of them when they see that.
Yeah, and I've had friends hunt it and say, man, we saw the deer, just couldn't get a shot at him, because it can be really thick in areas.
Yeah, it
and
can be.
you know, it's
hard. It's hard to find a place to put
Yes.
a stand. That's what I always tell guys. If you got a lock-on stand with sticks, that's your best bet.
Yes.
Because some of the best spots are not going to be good hanging sites for
No,
tree stands.
climbers just about won't work. You've got
Yeah.
so many hackberries and stuff like that that's in there. You don't have any good straight up trees, and it can be very difficult. And you might find a good place, you know, a lot of scrapes, really active, and there ain't nothing to climb.
Yeah.
And it's so thick you can't see through it, and it's really challenging, and especially when you got big crop fields and you got a bow in your hand, and you're sitting here and he's 200 yards out there, and you look at him through the glasses and you almost fall out of the tree. That's the biggest thing I've ever seen in my life, but he ain't coming.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a difficult hunt.
It's
I mean,
hard hunt. It's a
I mean,
hard
I give
hunt.
you 1 day to scout it, right?
Okay.
3 days to hunt it. All right, so a place you've never seen before. I give you 1 day to check it out. Then I say,
Everybody's
good
the
luck.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
And we'll
now,
be here.
now we have some other things. It's got to be 9-point or better.
Yes.
You got to use a bow. All right. And now we added that new regulation on the outside spread, but that wasn't there until the last 2 or 3 years.
That's right.
So that's just another one, you know, and it's all right. Now, good luck.
Yeah.
You know, and so, I mean, over the years, we've always shot as an agency, hoping to get around 8 to 10 out of a 50 hunter quota. That's pretty good, especially with the regulations. How many days I gave you to scout and getting close enough in bow range, and
And then the weather's got to be right.
Yeah.
that's so.
It's liable to turn off 80 degrees one day,
Or-
and you're fighting mosquitoes, or it's liable to the next day you're liable to be sitting there and sleep falling off your nose.
Or the year that I came down and ate honey buns with y'all, and it was raining. It was pouring the whole
Yeah.
3 days.
Guys have been putting in for 12, 13 years.
They got to take their chance when
Yes.
they get it. Right?
Yes.
That's it. Ice storm hit. We had bows breaking left and right. and ice
strings.
storm.
We had a lot of strings that broke on these guys.
So
Wow.
we got them to a local archery place, got them fixed up, and but we have guys coming from all over the state. We have them coming from out of state.
Yes.
We usually have 1 or 2 out of state every year, but we get to meet people all across the state.
Oh, yeah.
And we always look forward to that hunt, just getting to know those people, where they came from. Somebody from the mountains coming to the Mississippi River floodplain. I mean,
It's a different hunt, too.
it's a whole different
Yeah.
country when it comes to hunting when you do that. So-
Well, it's good to know that there are some fields, but, you know, I wasn't sure what the property looked like. So there's fields, there's woods, it's a combination, but
And
like I said,
thick.
it's thick and hard
Very
to
thick,
hunt.
especially after the flood.
Yeah.
So the flood of 2011 that we all talk about,
And it changed the landscapes.
it changed landscapes all up and down the Mississippi River, and it changed that landscape.
Big time.
Yeah, and so we have a lot of grown-up areas with willow thickets and stuff that were not there prior to that flood, which is great deer habitat, but very hard to hunt. And so those big bucks can get down in there and hard to find. So,
Well, we need to get in one more management
Got one
area here
more.
before we run out of time.
okay,
Tully.
that's it.
That's one we all call Tully.
That's right.
Right.
That's the one we've had for a long time. It's where David cut his teeth
Yep.
at.
Oh, yeah.
That y'all
Sure
probably
did.
talked about before, and so it's around 15,000 acres there that we manage for all game.
Everything.
And we've got 2 big dove fields there. We got a 50-acre youth field that's set up for just youth. And then we have an adult field that opens. We always have a youth hunt. It's one of our favorite parts of
Yeah,
the year on that to do. And then we have a brand new, I call it brand new, it's 3 or 4 years old now, the Fig Field unit, waterfowl area, multi-million-dollar project that was done in partnership with DU and Nature Conservancy and federal aid. And David's seen that coming way before me,
Long
early
time.
90s, and it
All the way
was a
back,
dream.
all the way back when Mr. Myers was the director, and they had the North American Waterfowl panel, and at one time the fig field was the #1 piece of property in the nation to purchase for waterfowl development. So I had to wait for many years, even after purchasing that property. You know, you got to wait till you can get some partnerships and some money. and finally got it to the point to where it is now. And
we've got 10 pools there that we can manage and flood.
And we talked about the pools,
Yep.
so
That's right.
that's a little, you know.
Those pools range anywhere. I think the smallest one's 22 acres, I think, and some of them are up to 55 acres.
Wow, so 20 to 50, yeah, so.
Some
Yeah,
big,
so it's 10
big
pools.
sections. Yeah.
We got 2 wells that feed it.
Yeah,
that we'll pump. We manage that with corn and moist soil and Japanese millet. And a lot of moist soil grows good there. It's beautiful.
Some of the same
nice and
struggles you have there.
thick. Actually, it's lower than Eagle Lake Refuge.
Okay.
So David and I, about everybody wakes up to look at the weather. You know,
Yeah,
when you're in our business, and as soon as we get done with the weather, we're looking at the river forecast. What's it at today, and what's it going to? Because that's what dictates everything. But it's one of the lowest places in Lauderdale County.
Yeah, it's one of the, it's the lowest place on the management area anyway.
Yeah,
It's,
and
it's
so
low.
it gets underwater quicker than anything else we have. So, again, that's the fun. Live by the river, die by the river is what they say. So.
And that's one of those that's coming up soon, September 28th through October 18th.
Yeah, not all 10 will be open on that first draw. We'll have, I think it's 6 of the 10.
Yeah, it looks
We'll have
like
a staggered
pool 1, 2, 4, 6, 9, and 10.
Yeah, they'll be staggered in on middle and late season. So we'll have some pools open, but that's coming up quick.
And
so,
and what about as far as other hunting on Tully? Is there anything else?
So they done all game there.
Okay, all game
known
again.
for deer alone. For
We
a long
went-
time, big deer with
Yep.
9
Yeah,
point
we
metal
went.
rule.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
went a long time with the regulations on the bucks until this chronic waste hit, and then we had to drop the down to where he comes through, you can shoot him.
Yeah.
So it's some good, really good bucks down there.
That is, absolutely.
Go give that place a shot. Go
That's
check
right.
it out. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate y'all letting us come over and visit with you guys for a little while.
Yes, sir.
And it's good information. A lot of folks wonder about these properties, don't know a whole lot about them, don't know a whole lot about the people behind them. Now they do. So I'm glad we
And
can
maybe
get you
some
guys
of
out
the hard parts of the job, like
right.
the weather and the river.
Yes. And then we get to meet the legend.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
This man's forgot more than we'll know. I promise you.
That's
You know,
I
for
guarantee you,
In
I
our
forgot.
We need to sit him down and write a book or just roll tape, one of the two. But we appreciate you guys, and congratulations on that 12,000.
Thank you.
Would go for that 15,000.
We're gonna shoot for it.
And if, like I said, if you missed that show, go back and check
Yeah.
it out. It's a good episode. So this is Tennessee Wildcast. We appreciate you watching, for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay connected with TWRA by visiting our website at tnwildlife.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hey, it's all about Tennessee wildlife. It's what we do. Tennessee Wildcast will be on the air again next week. We'll see you then.